This video is sponsored by Storyblocks, and you probably should have seen that coming because this video is all about not working for free. That's a terrible joke, that's a terrible start to the video. That does bring up an important point though, which is that I have quite a diverse revenue stream, which means I choose filming jobs on a number of different factors, with finances being slightly lower on the list. And I realise that's an incredibly fortunate position to be in. I'm very, very lucky, but it does also mean that you should potentially take my advice with a pinch of salt. So let's open up this can of worms then. Some people believe that you should never work for free. As soon as you get your first camera system, you should go out looking for paying clients, whereas others believe in the struggling artist approach, where you should suffer for your art and nothing good has ever come from comfort. I sit somewhere in the middle, but it's definitely a tricky subject and it's definitely open for debate, but I'm going to try my best to get my opinion across in 4 separate categories. Category number 1 is inexperienced filmmakers. You see, the thing is, filmmaker is quite an ambiguous term. You know, pretty much anyone who has a camera could class themselves as a filmmaker, but then that puts you in the same group as industry professionals and even masters of the craft. You see, I hear sayings circulated on social media like you wouldn't expect plumbers and accountants to work for free, so why should filmmakers? Now, although I agree with this in principle, you then get someone like Tim, who's just bought an A6500 and a kit lens, who reposts it to their profile with the caption "this," when the only filmmaking they've done is shooting slow motion footage of their cat and a sunset. The reality is, accountants and plumbers need years of experience to be able to call themselves that. So as an inexperienced filmmaker, you shouldn't be working for free because you shouldn't really be looking for work. Pick up the camera and shoot things that truly interest you. Worry about shooting proper projects and getting paying clients once you've learnt the ropes a little bit. Now, category 2 is passion projects. Passion projects are projects that you take on for free or even at cost to you, and I am a strong believer in passion projects, and I hope I will continue to pursue passion projects regardless of my experience level. Not only are passion projects a great way for inexperienced filmmakers to make the leap into shooting proper projects, go through that full process, feel that pressure, and of course make a ton of mistakes, but thankfully without someone there to scream at you, demand refunds, and potentially put a brick through your window. But even for experienced filmmakers, they allow you to let your hair down creatively, take risks, and experiment. Time spent on passion projects can pay dividends in the future because they can prevent burnouts, they give you awesome things for your show reel, and they can lead on to more work of that type in the future. But I know what you're thinking. At this point in time, I've advocated not filming any projects and then paying for your own projects. None of those things are going to pay the bills. So after the break, I'll run you through how you can actually get paid for your work. Storyblocks is the complete stock solution, providing an unlimited library of over 1 million royalty-free, high-quality video, audio, and images through cost-effective subscription plans. This video is all about being paid for your work. Well, you know what can really eat a hole in your budget and have you walk home with less money at the end of it? Specialist shots, such as aerials of locations, and stock footage. Stock footage can be outrageously expensive, whereas Storyblocks has affordable subscriptions which allows you to stay on budget while telling the best version of your story. Storyblocks has also recently announced an initiative called Restock, where they essentially realised that stock content's representation of people has been one-dimensional and unvaried for far too long, and they're putting this right by widening the pipeline of stock contributors to include new diverse creators that portray people and communities that are underrepresented in stock media in an authentic light. I think we can all agree that that is a positive move in the right direction and is definitely something that I'm all for. So if you want to check out Storyblocks, head down to the description or go to storyblocks.com/mumbojumbo to get yourself signed up today. Right, category number 3 is obviously paid work. So you've got some experience, you've shot some cool stuff, a company sees this and wants to hire you for it, they tell you it's an unpaid job, but it will be good exposure. No, they reached out because they like your work. Let's say you shoot a bunch of mini documentaries, and although you really enjoy shooting them, you're now very comfortable shooting them. They want you to shoot a mini documentary for them that they will definitely benefit from. Now, although this initially sounds cool, you might be excited, you know, somebody's seen my mini documentaries and wants me to make one for them, the equation here is definitely unbalanced. They are getting a lot. They're getting a film made by someone who's experienced in making films of that type, whereas you're getting very little. You're getting more experience in a field where you already have quite a lot of experience, because let me tell you, exposure is a myth. It doesn't exist. If someone promises you exposure, run. You definitely deserve to be paid for this to just balance out that equation. So obviously this is a very clear-cut example. These are filming projects that you should 100% be paid for, but there is category 4, which is for the slightly muddier situations, the grey area. This is where things become personal decisions, and it depends on how much weight you attribute to certain factors. But I just want to make it clear, if you have experience, you should absolutely never work for free. The key is that it's not always about money. Let's come back to the passion projects. These are filming projects that I personally have paid for that are at cost to me, but I don't see them as a net loss because the experience earned and the lessons learned outweigh the outlay, which is weirdly poetic. To give a current example, we recently landed a commercial project that has a strong budget, a really great brief, and a client who is giving us a lot of creative control. It's like the dream job. Now, I could have taken a big payday on this one, but I chose to invest a huge proportion of the budget in the production itself. You know, I got a bigger crew, I got a much bigger lighting package, good locations, hired in talent and models. I will walk away with less money than I potentially could have, but the experience of working on a shoot at that level, on that scale, was something that I valued more than the potential earnings that I could have made. Now, of course, sometimes this totally backfires and you end up on a terrible shoot, working for next to no money, but sometimes I like to take the risk. Now, the key here is you're the master of your formula. As I mentioned in the beginning, I have a diverse revenue stream, which means finances are slightly lower on my list of priorities, and I tend to prioritize other things, which my accountant gets quite upset about. So if your equation, literally the only factor in it is money, because your filming is your job, and you need to maximize income, fair enough. That's absolutely fine. The amount of weight that you attribute to these factors and what these factors are is entirely up to you. You might put a huge amount of weight behind travel, or once-in-a-lifetime experiences, or high-quality catering on set. It could be anything. You have to look at your little equation, and you have to work out if all of the other factors, all of these little intangibles add up to a point where you don't have to be financially compensated, then that's the point where you can work free of charge, but not necessarily for free, because you're still gaining a lot out of it. So the key here is know your worth, never ever work for free, but sometimes that isn't quite as black and white as it may initially seem.